Thanksgiving week. I'm Cynthia Frelund, and this is the Numbers Game, Week 13 Turkey Day Primer, a preview of Bears at Lions, Giants at Cowboys, and Dolphins at Packers through the lens of contextualized data, along with a few fun extra facts and stats to know. Oh, and this week we have some fun conversation stat starters. You'll see what I mean here, but it involves a guest star. This week, we're going to break the games up into this Thursday Primer, a Black Friday special mini show with some remaining season notes and action items, and then the regular show with the remaining 12 games. Thanksgiving is my favorite holiday, and I am especially grateful for this whole NFL season for you choosing to spend some of your time and energy with me, so let's get right into it. Last week, my model went 10 wins and 3 losses straight up, 7-6 against the spread, and 8-5 on totals. That brings my season through 176 games to 67% straight up, 51.1 ATS, and 53.4 on totals. Let's start where the day will begin, and that's in the Motor City, where the Bears, who just narrowly lost their past 2 games, division games no less, come to town as 10.5-point underdogs. The total in this one is 48.5 points. I said it last week, but it bears repeating again this week, pun intended. But one of the main differences in this Chicago offense with Thomas Brown as the OC is how quickly Caleb Williams is getting the ball out of his hands. Before Thomas Brown, it was 2.9 seconds. Since Thomas Brown, I know it's just been 2 games, but 2.42 seconds. That is actually a massive decrease. Overall this season on quick passes, Williams has completed 77% of attempts for 937 yards, 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Those are on all throws under 2.5 seconds. On dropbacks taking longer than 2.5 seconds, those numbers are 51.7 completion percentage, 1,419 yards, 6 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions. However, this one is a big test for Williams in the quick passing game. The Detroit defense has allowed the lowest rate of such passes to be caught, just 66.7%. A big bright spot for the Bears defense in Week 12 was Montez Sweat, who was very efficient against the Vikings, especially the Vikings right tackle, as he generated a team-high 6 pressures and sack on 26 pass rushes for a 23.1 pressure rate. That is his second highest in a game so far this season. One of the defensive coverages that Jared Goff has been excellent against this season has been single high, which the Bears use at the 5th highest rate, over 60%, and they've allowed the 11th most yards per attempt when using single high. Goff has the highest completion percentage at 74.5, most yards 1,809, and yards per attempt at 9.4 against single high. As of right now, the injury report still includes Amon-Ra St. Brown, David Montgomery, Taylor Decker, DJ Reader, Carlton Davis, Khalif Raymond, and of course, Alex Anzalone is on IR, which means let's look at a few of the matchups for players we know will be on the field. Sonic and Knuckles could be without David Montgomery, so let's do a Jahmyr Gibbs stat instead, as in Jahmyr Gibbs, who has a 16.2 explosive run rate. Those are runs that net his team at least 10 yards. That's the highest rate for any running back since 2022. Chicago has allowed explosive runs at the 4th highest rate this season. And by the way, the run game, or the threat of it, is a big part of making play action work. And guess who uses play action at the highest rate in the league? Jared Goff. It's about 38% if you are tracking at home. Since week 9, Chicago has allowed the most yards per play action pass, the 4th highest success rate, and the 5th most expected points added per play action dropback. It is a point where it is a weakness for the Bears and a strength for the Lions. Bottom line, after 7 years of losing on Thanksgiving in a row, the Lions finally get one in the W column here, 30-19. The Lions defense has not given up a touchdown in 2 games. The Lions also have an advantage in one more area. It is the intermediate pass. Those are the 10 to 19 air yard attempts, where Goff leads the league at 12.9 yards per attempt, and Chicago's defense has allowed the second most per attempt since week 8 with 14 per. Next up is the other Thanksgiving mainstay, and that is the Cowboys, who are hosting the New York Giants, and Dallas is a 4-point favorite. There are a number of similarities between these teams. So strong defensive pressure being the anchor of each team, backup quarterbacks who are now starting, one key wide receiver. Okay, one of them is completely elite, and the other one is having a very solid start to their career. Not exactly the same, because I'm not willing to say Malik Neighbors is CeeDee Lamb yet, but you get what I'm saying here. One phase that forecasts to be central to figuring out who wins this game is about the run game, as in who's going to be most effective with all of these weird conflicting stats. Let's look at them. Giants back Tyrone Tracy has averaged the second most yards per carry between the tackles at 5.5, but he has the seventh lowest rushing success rate on those attempts. The Cowboys defense has faced the lowest percentage of rushes between the tackles, but they've allowed the sixth highest rate of success on them. On all rushes combined, Tracy has earned more yards than expected at the second lowest rate among 37 qualified running backs, but he's averaged 5.1 expected yards per attempt, which is the highest among that same group. Ready to get even more confused here? The Cowboys backs have averaged negative 0.7 rushing yards over expected per carry this season. That is the fewest in the NFL since 2020. And the Giants defense has allowed 1.4 rushing yards over expected per carry this season, which is the most in the NFL since 2018. The point being is there is a lot of conflicting information here. Perhaps a small advantage for the Giants, but is that enough? Bottom line, my math says that it doesn't. I have the Cowboys winning 23-18. I will say, Cooper Rush is currently on the injury report at the time that I'm filming this, which is concerning, but his coach said he thinks that they're going to be okay. So I'll go with the latest news, and as of right now, that's what it is. But should things change, I will update everything like I did with San Francisco and Green Bay last week. Defensive tendency dictates my final score. Cover one usage, that is something that the Giants do at the 8th highest rate, and Cooper Rush has been very good against it. He has an 11 yard per pass average, along with the 123.7 passer rating against it. I do not love rankings with this small of a sample size, but those numbers would be good for 3rd and 4th best respectively if they held over more games. And then there's a nightcap at Lambeau Field, where the streaking Dolphins come to town to take on the Packers, who had a massive win over the 49ers last week and are favored by a field goal in a game where 47 points is the over-under. Both teams use a ton of pre-snap motion. Miami's offense ranks number 1. They use it on 84% of plays. The Packers' defense has allowed the 6th fewest EPA per dropback to plays with motion, but Green Bay's offense, well, they also use it at the 4th highest rate, 77%, but they have the worst motion success rate delta, meaning they have nearly a 12 percentage point decrease in success rate with motion compared to plays without motion. There is a strength-on-strength situation between Josh Jacobs and the Dolphins' run defense. Jacobs rushes to the inside at the 7th highest rate and has earned the 2nd highest rushing yards over expected average on inside runs. However, Miami has allowed the 3rd fewest EPA per inside rush this season. Jacobs has also had the 9th highest shotgun rush rate, where he has again earned the 2nd highest success rate. But the Dolphins defense has allowed the 2nd fewest EPA per shotgun rush this season. Both quarterbacks have an advantage against the other's defense in the area that they specialize in. Tua is the quick passing specialist. This season, he is also averaging the quickest time to throw. Last season, he led the league with 2.36 seconds. This season, he's so slow, 2.41 seconds. He's completed 115 passes for 1,028 yards, 7 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions on those quick passes. And the Packers have allowed the most yards per attempt on them at 7.3. Jordan Love has thrown deep at the 2nd highest rate in the NFL and completed almost 40% of such attempts for the 2nd most yards at 640, along with 4 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. The Dolphins have allowed the 6th highest completion percentage and 3rd highest passer rating, it's 130.2 by the way, against deep passes this season. Bottom line, I know it is tempting to pick the Packers in the cold at home, but my model, it disagrees. I have 23-22 Dolphins. I will say, because it is just a tiny 1 little point difference, keep an eye on the injury report. Right now, Teron Armstead, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Ramsey, Isaiah Wynn, they're all on it. And if they don't play or some critical mass of them don't play, it could shift things. I will communicate it, I promise. I also need to communicate some love to Kendall Lamb in his injury starts for right tackle Austin Jackson. I was very hard on him, but he has only allowed 6 pressures and 1 sack in 109 pass blocks in the past 2 games. Packers rusher Rashawn Gary, he'll be a tough matchup this week, though. He leads Green Bay in pressures and has generated multiple pressures in 11 straight games. But still, Lamb, you get some love. Before we get to our Thanksgiving spicy and bland props, I thought it would be fun to give you 5 fun conversation starter stats. Sometimes you need to have a few things to say at the ready because, let's face it, holidays can get a little weird. All 5 of these questions are related to teams playing on Thanksgiving. However, I can't do this alone. And there's no one better to help me on this very topic than the myth, the legend. This is my mom. This is my very favorite person, Marianne Frelund. Mommy, thank you for being here.
I'm excited to be here.
Great. Okay. So first of all, we need to know a few things about you. Are you ready?
Yep.
Number 1. Who is your favorite player?
No question. It's Patrick Mahomes.
Okay. Clearly, we're not from Kansas City, so whatever. Why did he become your favorite player?
Well, I was a Lions fan for 50 years, and they never won. And then Patrick Mahomes came on the scene in 2017, started in 2018, and I just loved him and how he plays.
It's kind of impressive that you know the year, because do you even care about stats?
No, not at all.
Got it. Okay. Who's Dad's favorite player?
Christian McCaffrey.
And when did he tell us this?
About an hour ago.
Okay. What's your Super Bowl prediction?
My Super Bowl prediction is the Kansas City Chiefs play the Detroit Lions and the Chiefs win.
I don't really have words for that. Do you see this behind you?
I do.
Wow. She's a traitor. Okay. Anyways, are you ready for the game?
I'm ready.
Question number 1.
Okay.
Name the 4 teams who have never made a Super Bowl.
The Lions for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Tampa Bay.
No.
Cleveland.
Cleveland is one of them. You can look up there.
Cleveland and Houston.
Jacksonville. So it's Detroit, Jacksonville, Cleveland, and Houston. You got 2.
I did pretty good for that.
That's really good.
Thank you.
Are you ready for question number 2?
Yep.
Are you sure? You look scared.
I don't know. We'll see if I can do this.
Saquon Barkley.
Yep.
He has exactly 500 scrimmage yards over the past 2 games. You know he's really good.
Really good. He was playing on the New York Giants team for a long time.
Yeah. Do you think that they miss him?
I think they made a big mistake by getting rid of him.
Okay, I don't think you're the only one. Anyways, he's the first player with 500 or more scrimmage yards over a 2-game span since who? Now remember, all of these questions are about teams playing on Thanksgiving. So who could be another person who had 500 or more scrimmage yards in a 2-game span?
Barry Sanders.
That was a really good guess. It's what Walter Payton.
Walter Payton. Okay. No, I didn't know
the Bears are playing the Lions this year.
Got it. I was trying to think back.
No, that's really good though. Just to be clear, it's Walter Payton in weeks 10 and 11 of 1977. And he had 525.
You weren't even around. I was.
No. You and Dad were married though for a year.
Yes.
That's really good to be married since 1976.
A long time.
It's almost 50 years.
I know. Really? I know that. Okay.
Good for you. Okay. Question number 3. Which quarterback who's playing on Thanksgiving has a 70-plus completion percentage in 5 straight games, good for the longest streak in the NFL, active streak in the NFL?
Jared Goff.
I kind of meant to trick you, but it's actually Tua Tagovailoa.
Oh, okay. I forgot about them playing at night.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that they're going to have a chance playing in the cold if they're playing at Lambeau?
No.
Okay.
I don't. They're a warm weather team. Mm-hmm. And Lambeau is really cold.
Do you know that sometimes they wear wetsuits under?
No.
Yeah, it's like the coaches and stuff. They wear wetsuits under their clothes to stay warm.
Wow.
Mind blown, huh?
Absolutely.
Question number 4. Which defender playing on Thanksgiving set the rookie pressure record at 22.7%? So the number of pressure. So not just, it's like how much pressure per times they tried to pressure. Almost 23%. So almost 1 out of every 4 rushes.
Boy, this is a hard one for me.
Think about who's playing.
Well, I think we're done with the Lions. We're moving on from them. Mm-hmm. And the Cowboys are playing. And
who's the best defender on the Cowboys?
Micah Parsons.
You got it. She nailed it. And it was in 2021, in case you're wondering.
That was his rookie year. I don't care about stats.
Do you know where he went to? You don't care about stats. Thanks. Thank you, Mom. Do you know where he went to college?
I don't.
It's a Big Ten, a former Big Ten. Well,
all right.
Everything's a Big Ten now, but it was a historic Big Ten
Ohio
school.
State.
Nope, but that's a good guess.
Purdue. Penn State.
Nailed it.
You helped me.
It's okay.
I got him right. Do you believe that?
I did believe that. I saw you do it. You ready for this one?
I know.
This one's the hardest one.
All
but
right.
I think you can do this one. Okay.
I'll try.
Question number 5. Who was the last player that former Commissioner Paul Tagliabue announced in the NFL draft ever? You know, in the first round, the commissioner comes out and says, like, with the first pick.
Yeah. Oh, I know. I watch it always.
Okay. So the last person that Paul Tagliabue ever said
Matthias Kiwanuka.
That's right.
Because we like Matthias.
I went to college with Matthias.
Yes.
Gave her a layup. But it is actually also a very fun trivia fact. And he played for who?
The New York Giants.
How-
And he's a wonderful guy.
How many Super Bowls did he win?
2.
That's right. That's right. Good job, Mom. Do you have any more predictions? How about just Thanksgiving predictions? Let's just go with Lions or Bears.
Lions.
Okay. Who wins between the Giants and the Cowboys?
Where are they playing at?
Dallas.
Then I'll say the Cowboys.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, you're
Because it's
Italian.
home team.
Do you get offended by Tommy DeVito when they call him Tommy Cutlets and do this?
No, I don't.
Could you care less?
I could care less.
Right. No, you couldn't care less.
I couldn't care less.
Right. Exactly. Okay. Last but not least,
Okay.
Packers or Dolphins? It's at Lambeau. And it's in the evening.
Packers.
Who's your favorite Packer player?
Wow. Oh, Bart Starr.
That's a great answer. I love Bart Starr.
I do too.
I had no idea where you were going with that one, but
I like Bart Starr.
Who doesn't like Bart Starr?
I know.
He's a great one.
He was great to watch.
Yeah. Anyways, all right. Thank you, Mommy. I really appreciate your help.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Oh, happy Thanksgiving. Let's round out this episode with our spicy and bland menu for today. Bland first, remember, these are props that happen in at least 55% of my simulations. Number 1, CeeDee Lamb to earn more than 66.5 receiving yards. The Giants have allowed the highest completion percentage over expected on deep passes this season. It's 38.2%. The next closest team is 12.1%. That number, 38.2%, isn't just the most this season, but the most since Next Gen Stats started tracking in 2016. Number 2, Jared Goff to pass for at least 2 touchdowns. He had 0 last week against the Colts, but Goff needs just 2 to join Matthew Stafford and Bobby Lane as the only players in Lions history with at least 100 passing touchdowns. And number 3, Jordan Love to pass for more than 241.5 yards. In fact, the number for Tua is 240.5. So add both of them here, you get 2 for 1 on this one. Deep passes for Love, quick passes for Tua like we talked about just a few seconds ago, and bam, the yards add up. On to the spicies. Remember, these happen in at least 48% of my simulations, but they have enough volatility and upside to make the juice worth the squeeze. Number 1, Tommy DeVito to rush for more than 22.5 yards. I think a lot of the run game vulnerabilities and weird traits of the Cowboys defense that I talked about earlier benefit DeVito. Number 2, Jonnu Smith to earn more than 40.5 receiving yards. He is number 2 in targets on the team this season. And even though Waddle had more yards than him last week, by like a lot, he still saw 11 targets and caught 9 of them, which were the most on the team. And number 3, Jamison Williams to earn more than 47.5 receiving yards. He's second on the team in both receiving yards and receiving touchdowns. He's also averaged 20.8 yards per reception, the second highest in the league. And Next Gen Stats shows he averages 9.9 yards after the catch per reception. That is the most in the NFL. One extra here because it's Thanksgiving. We need more. David Montgomery should be able to go. Now, he had a shoulder injury in week 12, but he said himself that he could have come back in. So should he play against his former team, add a touchdown for him to this one. The Lions also have this 25-game streak, the longest in NFL history, of scoring at least 1 rushing touchdown in a game in consecutive games. And I think Montgomery, end zone, it feels like the right thing in this week. I hope you have the best Thanksgiving. Enjoy your family, your friends, your pets, being alone, the food, however you choose to celebrate. I hope it is awesome. I know that the football will be, and I really hope that we get all of our picks right. All of my numbers will be up for you to use as you wish as of Wednesday, the 27th. So be on the lookout for those. Also be on the lookout for the other 2 episodes this week. Remember, we have the Black Friday little mini episode and then the remaining full normal episode coming out shortly after that. And if you like the show, please hit the like button, subscribe, pass it along so we can continue to grow.